Well, as you guys know, A Grand Day Out was released back in 1989, and for me, this was a film that I really enjoyed because it's something that I've recently rewatched again. And even though I believe the other two are far better movies and movies I enjoy more, but A Grand Day Out I think is really good in a sense that even though it's quite simple, it's also really interesting and really, really good and really, really clever. The fact of in the first 2 minutes you get to know the personalities of both the characters, you see this like humanized dog and his master who's he loves his cheese. You kind of just to see them interacting and stuff, and the fact as well it's only one character in a sense of Wallace, with Gromit who doesn't speak, but the fact that Gromit is such a great character that he only needs his expressions and you can see just how much personality exudes from him, and he's someone who would just flicking his eyebrow or looking at the camera in a certain way or just looking at the audience in a certain way and stuff, you can see, all right then, that guy has great personality. Same with Wallace as well. Wallace is really, really cool. And also as well, it's really interesting to watch Nick Park. So I recently as well did a bit of research for this review where I watched the Aardman documentary that's on Netflix. I'm not sure if you can get it on any other Netflixes, but I know it's definitely the UK Netflix. But it's quite interesting to see him discussing how he created Wallace and Gromit. Like, he originally was going to have Gromit as a cat, but I kind of feel like if Gromit was a cat, I don't feel like it would have, even though it would have worked still because Nick Park is a genius and he does really good stuff, but I feel like because it was easier for him to animate and create a dog, I feel like it did better for the franchise, because a cat, even though cats are cool, a dog is known for being a man's best friend, and I feel like with this happening, it really like adds more to the chemistry and the dynamic and the relationship between Wallace and Gromit. And sometimes the easiest things can always turn out to be the best things. There are many spots and moments I love about this movie. As I said before, the first 2 minutes alone show you just the great personality of both the characters. I love the British humour where there's a moment where you see Wallace basically in his basement sort of like designing and thinking of ways of how to like design the ship to fly to the moon, because basically it's a bank holiday Monday. They're like, there's no cheese, Gromit, let's go somewhere to find some cheese. And it's like, they always say the moon's made of cheese. And, you know, and they always had the famous line of, that's it, Gromit, cheese. We'll go somewhere where there's cheese and stuff. And it's just great to see that. And you can see him like doodling on the piece of the paper, and you see him do noughts and crosses, and you see him flick it. It's just like, it's just that subtle and clever humour that I love about these films. They're just brilliant in that sort of way. I love Gromit's facial reactions, where there's a moment where after Wallace has designed the actual proper picture of the ship, just drew a picture of him and Gromit in the ship, and like famous guy and that kind of stuff, and then you see him basically sawing a door to like start building the ship, and then you see just the two of the legs just break, and he's like, what am I going to do now? And he whistles to Gromit, who's at the time reading a book to do with electronics, and basically Gromit is in a sense a humanoid dog in a way, and then you see him being used as the extra legs for the door, and you can see him going like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this and stuff? It's just hilarious. I just love his reactions, and also as well after they finally built the rocket and you can see their work, and then basically when they're like looking back to see it, you can just see them looking at each other being like, yeah, we did this, like we're really proud of ourselves and stuff. And I like that because it shows their relationship and it shows their camaraderie, that they're so close and so well knit with each other that they would do anything for each other and stuff. I really enjoy that as well. Another thing as well that I love about this film is the fact that it has suspense over will he be able to get the crackers in time into the ship, because basically the way that they blast off is rather than being like normal with like rocket fuel and stuff, they literally do it by a match. So they light the match, there's a minute left, and he's looking through his bag and is like, we've forgotten the crackers, no! And then he literally gets into the house, gets them, and he's able to get back onto the ship, so they're able to blast off into space. And I love that because it's something that is crazy that you would think that something to do with trying to get the crackers on the ship will be suspenseful, and I love it as well. Absolutely amazing. Another bit I love as well is when they're flying off into space, because throughout the movie you have these rats that are around in the basement and stuff, like looking at what Wallace and Gromit are doing when they're building the spaceship and stuff, and that's kind of like you kind of see from their perspective, like what's going on, like it's really interesting and stuff. I want to see what's going on, and you can see from the rat's perspective like what's going on and stuff, and I could really like that because it gives them a personality. And then when Wallace and Gromit are flying off into space, you can see with the brightness of the rocket flying off, you can see the rats put on the sunglasses, and I really like that because it adds more personality and a bit of humour to the rats themselves, which is really, really cool. Another thing as well, I love the moment where you have Gromit trying to make this castle out of the cards, and he's like, yeah, I've nearly done it, and you have Wallace like literally trying to land the ship, and he's going steady, steady, and then he slams the brakes and it crashes, and you can see all these cars just go, and Gromit's just like what the hell? And I love that because it's that sort of humour to it and stuff, which is brilliant. I also as well love the robot. The personality of that robot's great. It's kind of like a traffic warden because it's literally the head of the moon, as it were. Like it's the protector of the moon, and it's kind of like, why are there people doing this to my moon? Like why are they trying to eat the moon and stuff? Basically, there's throughout the throughout the movie, basically the robot finds this magazine about skiing and stuff, and is obviously able to get an antenna, so he's able to see different things. And then you can see a clip of him being like, yeah, I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna ski and stuff. So he wants to ski. So then basically there's a moment where Wallace and Gromit are about to go back to Earth, and Wallace sees him running off the road like, I want to come with you, because obviously he can't talk, and Wallace feels that, crap, he wants to stop us, he wants to beat us and that sort of thing, and be like, oh no, I can't, he wants to stop us from having our cheese and that kind of thing. And it's just crazy just to basically see their reaction and stuff, and you can think that, and then he's basically trying to stop them from flying off so he can go with them. So as you can see him like cutting up the ship to get onto the ship and stuff to stop them from flying away without him, but then they fly off without him, and you can see him go like, darn, and it's like, but you see him turn the metal that's left into skis, and then the final scene is Wallace and Gromit like waving to the robot, being like, yeah, he got what he wanted, and you can see the robot then skiing down the hills and stuff, all to the Wallace and Gromit theme tune. But I really like that because it shows that actually the robot got what he wanted, and it's a nice and sweet ending to a great film. So yeah, and overall I'll give A Grand Day Out a 4.5 out of 5. Now this film for me is really, really good. I love this movie a lot, even though it's not as good as the other two, but then again, nothing would be, because the other two are so amazing and so great. But it's something that is a great introduction to these two great characters. It's something that is quite sort of like, even though it's quite primitive in a sense compared to the other Aardman stuff and the other Wallace and Gromit movies, but it has so much heart. They show you as well like the big personalities of Wallace and Gromit themselves, and for a start of a great franchise, it's really, really good. Yes, it might not be anywhere as good as the other two, but it is definitely worth a watch, and it is definitely something that if you like any sort of claymation in general, any animation at all, then I recommend you watch. And it's a start of a wonderful franchise, and it is something that if you've never seen any Wallace and Gromit, or have never seen any claymation as well, I recommend you to seek out this movie, even though I recommend the other two more, but it is still an amazing film.